Hey guys, how's it going? Well, you probably saw last weekend I put a community post up with a picture of this car with the oil light on when it shouldn't have been. And so I'll give you the backstory on that and show you what we're going to do about figuring out what's going on with this. So I took this out last weekend and ran about 20 miles to the next town to buy a mailbox to replace the one that Phil ran over with his car the last time he was at the house. And so I did that, went on up, everything's fine. Went to the Ace Hardware, kind of nosed into the building. I was in there maybe about 10 minutes. And I came back out and I started the engine up, and I noticed that the oil light stayed on a little bit longer than it should have, then it went out. And so I backed out, and I was going to make another stop up there, but I noticed every time I'd stop at a stop sign, the oil light would come on. I thought, well, I think I better just head back towards places where there's tools, or at least closer to home in case I had to stop, and get towed in or something. So I just kind of eased on back this way, and but I noticed that more and more every time I'd stop or let off the accelerator, the oil light would try to come on. It'd blink and flicker and stuff like that. So I stopped several times on the way back here and listened to the engine, and it had oil in it, of course. We'll check it, but no sounds. You ever hear an engine that does not have oil pressure, you'll know it because they clatter and the valve lifters make all kinds of noise, and then they start knocking, so things turn ugly pretty quick if you're out of oil pressure. And I knew that the oil pump was working at least somewhat, because that you could turn it off and start it back up, and the oil light would go off briefly, and then it would come back on, and then you rev it up and it would go off and come back on. So it was doing all this stuff, but no bad noises. So I thought, well, you know what? It's my car, my money. This is not the original engine. So, I'm just going to take a chance on it. I'm going to just keep going back to here and where it's stored at. And, if it starts getting loud or something, I'll know it's game over and I'll have to fix it. It's going to be on me, not anybody else. So, I know there's going to be comments saying, you should have had it towed. Well, me 10 years ago probably would have panicked and had it towed. But me now, as I said, it's my money, my car, and I pay the consequences for my decisions. So anyway, if it's going to do something like that, it's already got bad problems in there anyway. So anyway, I made it here with no problems. By the time I got here, the light was on all the time. So at this point, we're going to have to test this thing and see if it's just the sending unit that went bad, which is not a sending unit. It's just a switch, an oil pressure switch. It grounds the light in there. Or if it's actually low on oil pressure. So, of course, first thing you do, everybody's going to ask, does it have oil in it? It's got oil in it. Now, for whatever reason, one thing I don't like about this is that you turn this dipstick over. This is the bottom side towards the oil pan, and it's pretty clear. You turn it over up here, and the oil is always black on this top side of this dipstick. So it's got plenty of oil. Not that. So oil filter has got about 100 miles on it. Don't mind the drips down there. That was from before. I've sealed all that off. There's no oil leaks I'm aware of. And this engine I know nothing about other than what it is. It's a 1967 383. I'm pretty confident that it's not got many miles on it. I think somebody rebuilt it. I don't know what kind of job they did, but it's run pretty good up to this point. It's not the most powerful, and I think it could run better, but the oil light has never come on, when it shouldn't at any other time. So the sending unit, there it goes. The oil pressure switch is in the back there behind the carburetor. So let's get this air cleaner off, and I'll show you what we're dealing with. Okay, so there's the back of the engine, and there's the oil pressure switch right here. You see it kind of poking up right there. So got that. I'm juggling two cell phones because I went off and forgot my flashlight that I wanted. So I'll show you what we're going to use here. So went and bought one of these cheapo mechanical gauges. I don't like these things. I would never run one in a car, but should do just fine for what we're gonna do. So we're gonna pull out that switch and substitute this. I've already got it put together. I don't like trying to tighten all this stuff up with it in the engine because that's brass. And you have a special socket you use to pull the switch out, and we're going to sub this thing. And if this thing says it has good oil pressure, then I'm going to condemn the switch. So I didn't go buy a new switch. What I did do is I went digging through the pile of stuff that I had that came with this car, the engine parts, and I thought that I'd seen probably the original oil pressure switch from when it was new, and I found it and cleaned it up. I know it's probably the original because not only does it have turquoise paint on it, but you look over on the bottom of it and it's got a date code, and that date code is 375 right there, and that means that's the 37th week of 1965. And this switch is made by Fastco. You can even look that I don't even know if they exist. I think they do, but anyway, that was the OEM supplier. But this is that. You use this thing to take it out. So let me get cracking on this. There's my mailbox, by the way. I bought one of those big jumbo ones like I used to have. So when I order stuff, I can just put it in the mailbox, like packages and stuff. All right, guys, let me get in there and get to this and get that thing put in, and we'll give her a test. Man, I think I'd rather take a beating than do that job again. So I've got that in there. I had to take it back apart. There's no getting it in there in one piece. So I hope it doesn't leak. Anyway, the battery connected. Getting the keys out. You can see where I keep some of my spare mopar parts here, because I'm out of room everywhere else. And I've kind of haphazardly taped this gauge up here. There we go. So now, lock the door, get the finger out of the way. I think I know how to use the camera by now. Squeeze in. Roll this window down so it's not so claustrophobic. Okay, so we can see there. Got my foot in the door here. It's not an idea to have a car, have your foot out the door trying to start a car. All right. Key in. So I already got that mechanical temperature gauge. People chastise me about a little bit. Come in handy. A few pumps. Let's see what we get. Good old ethanol gas. Good. So far. This thing doesn't have a lot of gas in it. That's why I got nothing to run a while. So I'll let this thing run a little while and warm up, and we'll see how it acts when it's idling on slow idle. All right, bring it back. Okay, so as a final test, I have it in gear with the parking brake set in reverse. And just verifying again that we still have about 49 pounds of oil pressure. So that's perfect. No problems that I can see. So anyway, we'll get this thing back in and get the switch put in it and we'll be set.